The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the hosts and creators of this program.
This is the Pet Buzz.
This is the Pet Buzz.
Freshly collected with news,
celebrity pet gossip,
and the latest pet trends. The Pet Buzz gives you the latest 411 on everything pet related.
Everything pet related.
Hosted by Petrendologist Charlotte Reed and Dr. Michael Fleck. And here's the Dynamic Pet Duo.
Hiya, I'm Petrendologist Charlotte Reed.
I'm Veterinarian Dr. Michael Fleck.
And you're listening to the Pet Buzz, the ultimate in pet talk radio.
We welcome our listeners who tune in each week from around the world.
So, big question for you. Can dogs get STDs or sexually transmitted diseases?
Yes. Have I ever seen one? Yes.
Well, Auburn University College of Veterinary Medicine Associate Professor of, now let me see if I can say this, Theriogenology. How do you pronounce that, Dr. Fleck? Theriogenology.
That's real close.
Okay, close enough for now. In the J.T. Vaughn Large Animal Teaching Hospital and co-director of the Equine Reproduction Center is here talking to us about this most interesting subject matter. All that and global pet news in segment 4. But you got to wait for that. And I promise I'm going to be better at pronouncing Theriogenology.
That's pretty good.
Okay. I'm going to get better at that. Okay. In segment 3, which kicks off with my I likey of the week.
I likey.
Dr. Fleck and I are going to talk to Jill Gonzalez from WalletHub. That's a personal financial website. The online organization just put out their annual survey about the most and least pet-friendly cities in the country, and we've got the results right here.
And who doesn't want to learn more about our favorite celebrities and their pets? We'll give you a hint. We are talking about The Rock today.
And Dr. Fleck is talking about referring patients to a specialist. That's coming up next after the end of this segment. So let's kick off our show with our first guest talking about why service dogs benefit veterans suffering from PTSD.
Joining us today to talk about this subject is Rory Diamond. As CEO of K9s For Warriors, Rory is responsible for the executive management and strategic vision of the organization. Under his leadership, K9s For Warriors grew into the nation's largest provider of service dogs for disabled American veterans and the largest service dog agency in the world using primarily rescue dogs. Hey, Rory. Hello, and thank you for joining the Pet Buzz today.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So what type of challenge are veterans facing today?
There's about 1,000 challenges different veterans are facing in any given day, but the ones that we're focusing on at K9s For Warriors are post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injuries, and military sexual trauma. And that's usually about how to get back into civilian life.
You know, let's talk a little bit about these veterans and who they are and their suffering. You know, where do they live? Where did they fight?
Oh, man, it would be great if we had a prototypical veteran with prototypical problems in a place they live, but they're all over. The only thing we know for sure that these veterans who are really having the biggest problems have in common is, one, that they've been deployed multiple times. So if veterans been deployed to Iraq or Afghanistan 4 or 5 times, I can almost guarantee you they're going to have some issue with post-traumatic stress. And then veterans have been exposed to explosions, such that their brains will have a traumatic brain injury, which is pretty easy to happen. So those two things are the ones that we're focusing on.
So how do the service dogs help them?
One, they can do physical tasks such as, turning on lights and helping with laundry and doing all sorts of stuff. But
wait a second, the dog helps with laundry?
Yeah, dogs can be trained to do all sorts of great things. They can be trained
I know, I'm just joking. But I mean, really? Can you train one to come to my house?
I mean, look, the things that I think are the most impactful, though, are waking our warriors up out of night terrors and nightmares at night to help them get a good night's sleep. That's critical. Also, just helping them when they're in public. You think of a service dog as a bridge back out into the world. A veteran goes to Costco on a Friday afternoon that's going to be intense, and he or she may start to have a panic attack and start to look for the exit. And we train them, instead of letting the tunnel and the oppression of an anxiety attack overcome them, focus on your dog, pet your dog. And I guarantee you, we know for a fact their heart rate will go down, the fog of anxiety will lift, and they can go back into their day. So these dogs really are miracles that help our warriors get back out there.
That's the key word, miracle. So what does your organization have to do to provide service dogs for veterans?
So what we do is a little unique in that we don't breed any dogs. what we do is we go to high kill shelters across America, and we find those special dogs we think that'll make great service dogs. We bring them back to our campuses in Florida. We train them for 3 to 6 months. And then we bring the warriors from all over the country, and they spend 3 weeks with us in a pretty intensive in-house program. And we show them how to use their dogs one by one. And then critically, we provide them wraparound services, essentially for the rest of their life. As long as they need us, we're there for them.
I bet this gets pretty expensive.
It does. Sadly, we're at about $25,400 per warrior per dog.
Wow.
That's about what it costs us. And we're the nation's largest doing what we do. It's not even close. And we're the world's largest service dog agency that deals primarily with rescue dogs. So we're getting, the best bang for the buck, but it's not easy.
Well, talking about the financial end of this, it's perplexing to me. Why won't the Veterans Administration pay for dogs for PTSD veterans?
Every single person in America should be outraged that the VA is fighting service dogs for veterans with PTSD. It's disgusting. Our success rate, we have 568 graduates and 1 tragic suicide at K9s For Warriors. The numbers for us should be in the 40s. Our warriors almost all of them have some sort of attempt on their own lives. And these dogs are keeping them alive, and the VA seemingly couldn't care less.
Wow.
It's really horrible. Well, if you've just joined us, we're talking with veteran Rory Diamond, who is the CEO of K9s For Warriors. We're talking with Rory about obtaining service dogs for veterans in need. Well, it's interesting because according to Michael Fallon, the VA chief veterinarian, doing an interview with NPR in 2017, he said there are heartwarming stories about service dogs helping veterans, but really there's no evidence-based studies. But, that's not necessarily true. What I thought, Rory, is because I thought the VA was supposed to be working on a study about this particular topic. And then I know probably more than a year ago, we interviewed a gal who worked on the Purdue study. So what's going on with that?
The VA has been trying to do their study for almost 9 years, and they've gone through at least $20 million, and they still are telling us, wait to 2020, wait to 2021 before we make up our minds. That's a significant problem for me personally. But the good news is that K9s For Warriors went out and raised the money and did really great studies with Purdue University. I mean, these are peer-reviewed, hard science, published studies in some of the most prestigious journals, and they're showing that the warriors are having dramatic improvements due to their service dogs. So we say that the game is up, all right? We have the evidence. But if you want to know what makes this even a little bit crazier, is that the VA is saying we need more science, but they're more than happy to pump our veterans filled with prescription drugs, and there's no proof they help veterans with PTSD.
Of course. Well, we're going to make sure we put that study up so people can further understand what the benefits are and how that study was conducted. Because I think that's important if you want to go back. And I remember you remember, Dr. Fleck, when we did the interview, we specifically, because of you're a veterinarian, of course, that's the word out of Dr. Fleck's mouth a lot, evidence-based studies. We specifically wanted to do it with Purdue alone because we wanted to hear what they found during the evidence-based studies. Okay, so talk a little bit about recent legislation that can help PTSD veterans obtain service dogs. I will give everybody in Florida a hint who's listening. It has something to do with our governor.
Well, two good news out of Florida. First of all, 3 years ago, then Congressman Ron DeSantis partnered with K9s For Warriors, and we wrote the PAWS Act. That's the Puppies Assisted Wounded Service Persons Act. It didn't pass the first year, it didn't pass the second year, but we have had it reintroduced by Congressman John Rutherford of Jacksonville this year. And then Senator Deb Fisher is going to introduce it in the Senate in September. And so the PAWS Act will essentially override the VA's objections and require them to do at least $10 million worth of service dogs for veterans of PTSD over the next 3 years.
I must say Governor DeSantis has been doing some surprisingly amazing things in just the short time he's been with us. What can our audience do to help veterans obtain service dogs?
So two things. One is to call your member of Congress and ask them to support the PAWS Act, Puppies Assisting Wounded Service Persons Act. It's a House Bill 3130. So it's 3130. That's the magic number you need to remember and say, listen, I support this. I believe in this. Please be a co-sponsor.
Absolutely wonderful.
Well, that was Rory Diamond, CEO of K9s For Warriors, the nation's largest providers of service dogs for disabled American veterans. To learn more about his organization, visit K9sforwarriors.org. Let's take a commercial break and come back with the Celebrity Pet Scoop and Flex Facts.
You are listening to The Pet Buzz with Petrendologist Charlotte Reed and veterinarian Dr. Michael Fleck. We would love to communicate with you via social media. Use the Pet Buzz social media channels on Twitter and Facebook to make a comment or ask a question. Post a picture of your pet on Instagram and tell us about his or her unique personality. You can also write to us at team@thepetbuzz.com. For more information about our show, our guests, and buzzworthy freebies, visit us at thepetbuzz.com.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Warmer temperatures mean more time outside. You have sunscreen for yourself, but what about Fido? According to the American Animal Hospital Association and the American College of Veterinary Dermatology, pets need sunscreen too.
I love two things, sports and my dog Chester. Where I go, he goes. To the beach, to play soccer, everywhere. We spend a lot of time together in the sun, so I always carry a can of EpiPet sunscreen, so Chester is protected from the sun's harmful UV rays. I just spray it on and I don't have to worry. Chester is protected, so I know my sports buddies can be with me for a long time. Thanks, EpiPet.
Use EpiPet Sun Protector, the only FDA-approved pet sunscreen on short-haired, light-colored, hairless golden retrievers and other dogs susceptible to skin cancer. Contained in a sports bottle, EpiPet allows you to turn the bottle upside down, making it easier to spray your dog all over to protect your dog from the sun all day and every day. Visit epi-pet.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Pet Buzz this morning. This show is hosted by the dynamic pet duo. I'm Petrendologist Charlotte Reed.
And I'm veterinarian Dr. Michael Fleck.
We are bringing you more Pet Buzz to get you and your pets through the week. Let's kick off this segment with celebrity pet news.
Do you smell what The Rock is cooking? Ha! The Rock's laying the smackdown. The Rock says.
You know, Dwayne The Rock Johnson cuddles up with his French bulldog Hobbs, believe it or not. I don't know if that's a vanity name or what. Yeah. In his new campaign for Voss Water, the 47-year-old Hobbs and Shaw actor stars in the brand's first consumer-facing advertising and social media campaign called Live Every Drop. In the campaign, which is debuted via large-scale outdoor, digital, and social media platforms on Monday, August 5th, Dwayne reveals inspiring life lessons by offering a glimpse into his daily demanding schedule. I mean, frankly, between you and me, if you see the commercial, which I'm going to post on social media, it doesn't look like he's living life so demanding. I mean, if he was in the movie acting with my man, the mechanic, Jason Statham, then I would think, okay, demanding. Well, in this commercial, The Rock says that he's come to learn over the years that the life you envision isn't just handed to you. It's created and earned. He further notes that in life, you get out what you put in. And on his Instagram, it's written that my strategic partnership with Voss Water represents a new chapter for me by servicing the audience beyond media. And for years, I've been an avid Voss drinker, and partnering with them to tackle sustainability while creating new, improved, and exciting health beverages and products for you and your loved ones to enjoy is a project that I'm passionate about. Okay, so we heard all the nice narrative, right, for the campaign. Mm-hmm. And there he is with his cute French bulldog. If you recall, I mentioned in the last year that his other two French bulldogs, they drowned in a swimming pool. Remember that? Okay. So this one is a black and white Frenchie, and he's really cute. But I have one question for Dwayne.
Okay, give it.
Does your dog Hobbs drink Voss H2O? Let me know. I want to see a pic of the dog drinking the Voss out of a pet bowl.
Okay.
Okay, so now it's time for Flex Facts.
Welcome to Just the Facts. Just the Facts.
Fact or fiction? Just the facts, ma'am.
You want answers!
I want the truth!
This is going to take long.
You got the time?
Dr. Fleck, what's the discussion topic for this week?
This week we're talking about referring a pet owner to a specialist.
Oh, that's a great topic. Really interesting.
And the specialist's responsibility in treating that healthcare problem.
Okay, that's a great topic. So I'm going to ask you in terms of this. So how has your practice changed over the years? Because you, in the back in the day, you told me you did all these surgeries and tackled cancer and orthopedic issues.
Yeah, the practice has changed a lot. I think we as veterinarians are smarter, and the new graduates are smarter because we have better training and better tools for diagnosis and treatment of diseases. And of course, we work hand in hand with the human research people, so we have the best available to take care of our pets. And, you know, all this is really being driven, though, by something very, very important. And that is 10, 20 years ago, we really cared for our pets. But now they are part of the family. And being part of the family, a couple of things happen. Number one, they live longer. Therefore, they're going to have diseases maybe that they didn't show years ago when they died earlier in life. And the second part of that, of course, is they're part of the family. They sleep in bed with people. People recognize when they have health issues, and therefore they demand that we take care of the pet and make them healthier and respond to diseases the same way people that are maturing have to respond to diseases.
So when you started your practice life, did you refer patients to specialists? Was it something you did on a daily basis?
When I started practice, there were no private specialists. The specialists, if they existed at all as specialists, were at the universities. So we referred back to our veterinary colleges for any special issues, which meant that it was very limited for our clients to be able to bring that pet to that hospital, which would be a distance away, differently than what we have as private specialists in all of the major cities today. Now we have that opportunity because there's some tremendous specialists and tremendous specialty practices that we can refer our pets to.
So what's changed? I mean, from, for example, doing orthopedic issues, so now you just don't do the surgeries, you just refer them to the specialist?
The good and the bad. When I graduated from school, we did everything. We did orthopedic surgeries. We did kidney repair. We did dermatology repair. We did everything that one has to do as a general practitioner when you don't have specialty people available. But now that we have the specialist available, when we have issues that are non-responsive to our initial treatment, we now have people that are experts in diagnostic techniques with their new technical approaches. We have the ability then for new methods and treatment protocols that maybe we as general practitioners don't have available to us. And so therefore we can refer them to the specialist, and that can be provided with proper care.
Are there any ramifications about legal issues?
Absolutely. Not only when we send the pet to the specialist, we have to remind them that we have limitations in that because of the new training that they have, the specialists, that they have the ability to go ahead and treat. Even if we think we can treat, we have legal liabilities. And if something goes wrong with our treatment protocol, then we're liable. With the specialist, when they do the treatment with their training, then they have less liability with that treatment protocol. But it was important for us to refer for that treatment protocol.
Okay, so under what circumstances do you refer a patient to a specialist? Why don't you just highlight some of the most common problems?
The most common one I refer to is the one that's really the most confusing, and that is the pet that comes in over the last week or couple weeks that has lost its appetite, looks lethargic, maybe has an elevated temperature, certainly not eating, or if it is eating, it's vomiting. We know that those are internal issues. So we may go ahead and treat for a day or two, hoping that we get some response for maybe a minor sort of health problem. But generally speaking, if we don't get the response, I then refer off to the specialist, for example, the internist. The internist that I refer to is also an oncologist. Oncologists, of course, treat cancers. For I have serious skin issues, which I specialize in myself. If it's really serious, I'll send it off to a dermatologist. We have bone surgeons. We have soft tissue specialty surgeons. We have ophthalmologists. The same things that people have, we have, and they all do a great job.
Okay, so how should veterinarians prepare their patients for the specialist?
You indicate that you've gone as far as you can go with that particular patient with your treatment protocol and diagnostic approaches, and that you need additional help on this. So that's when you would refer. But in preparing them, in addition to preparing them for having additional care done, there is an expense that goes along with it. And today the specialist can have a price tag that can be challenging.
Well, is there anything else?
Affordable health care for the future. We really have to look at that for pets. That's all the Flex Facts for the week.
Well, thank you, Dr. Fleck. We can't wait for your unique insight next week. So check out Dr. Fleck at his AMC of Bradenton and Red Barn clinics in Bradenton and Miami. Up next, we're going to talk about my I Likey of the week, as well as the most and least friendly pet cities across the country. Let's learn more about how these cities were determined, because maybe you think your city is super pet friendly.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
When your doctor recommended omega fatty acids as a daily supplement, he told you that they promoted better heart, brain, skin, joint, and immune system health. Well, doesn't it make sense for your pet to have the same health benefits? EpiPet Whole Fish Treat, an all-natural smoked fish supplement, is 100% bioavailable, bringing your pets the nutrients they need to keep them healthy and happy. To order better pet health for your dog or cat, visit www.epi-pet.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Pet Buzz, the best in pet talk radio. I'm veterinarian Dr. Michael Fleck.
And I'm Petrendologist Charlotte Reed. And now for my fave of the week.
That's the way it has to be, 'cause that's the way I like it.
It's genius.
I like it. I love it so much. I like it.
It's to die for.
I like it. I'm not just big on excessive treating, but I do like to use treats for some individual training sessions with my 7 dogs. And that's why when I use Loving Pet products, Houndations, their bite-sized soft chew dog treats made in the USA, well, these awesome tasting treats are perfect training rewards.
I like them.
They are also great for small dogs and puppies, made with 100% all-natural ingredients. Houndations contain no grain, no wheat, no gluten, and no corn. They're also available in 5 proteins. That's beef, chicken, duck, lamb, and salmon. Every bag comes with a free carabiner to carry your treats for hands-free training, hiking, or playing. Conveniently, hang your Houndations bag from a belt loop, purse, or leash. Your dog's going to love them. Okay, well, to many of us, pets are family, even if they're covered in fur, feathers, or scales. Naturally, there are nearly 85 million households in the United States that own a pet want to live in places where their beloved companions can enjoy long, healthy lives without breaking the bank.
And joining us today to talk about America's most pet-friendly cities is Jill Gonzalez, an analyst from WalletHub. Jill, welcome back to the Pet Buzz.
Thanks for having me back.
You know, we're really excited to learn about your pet-friendly city rankings today. So, when evaluating the best and worst cities for pet lovers, what are the top 5 indicators?
Well, if you're moving to a city, if you're visiting a city and really want to know how pet-friendly it is, there are certain things to keep in mind. One of them is simply cost. You know, how much is it going to cost for you to keep an animal, whether that's in your apartment, whether that's also pet insurance premiums, things like that. They're larger animals. It's important to make sure they can be walked and have parks where they can run around. Veterinarian reviews at the neighborhood where you're thinking of moving is also huge. And if there are pets in the area already, that's also definitely a good thing to know.
Great information. Mm-hmm. So, Jill, what are the most pet-friendly and least pet-friendly cities in the United States?
Well, we do this study every year, and this year the most pet-friendly cities, the top 5, start out with number 5 is Phoenix, Arizona, number 4, Austin, Texas, 3, Tampa, Florida, 2, Orlando, Florida, and number 1, back to Arizona in Scottsdale. So, of course, warmer weather certainly does help.
Well, of course, in the past...
Wait a second. Did you mention the least friendly cities? What are the least friendly cities?
Oh, yeah.
The least friendly cities typically have to do with not having a lot of vets in the area, not having a lot of doggy daycares, et cetera, in the area. So the worst were Chula Vista in California, followed by Milwaukee, very cold, in Wisconsin, Buffalo, New York, also very cold, and the last 2 were Laredo, Texas, and Fresno, California.
No places I have a desire to go anyway.
Absolutely. That's why it's not very pet-friendly.
Okay, you had a question, Dr. Fleck. Go ahead.
You know, in the past 20 years, pets have become really part of the family, and now, like kids, they want to spend more time inside than outside, and we got to get these pets outside, especially since more than half of our pets are obese. So what city ranks the highest in pet outdoor friendliness?
Just in terms of being outdoors and having a lot of dog parks, etc., very similar to the top 5, mostly in California. So Fremont, number 5, Las Vegas, surprisingly, is a great outdoor city for your pets, too, at number 4. Los Angeles was number 3, Irvine, California, number 2, and San Francisco, the very best at number 1.
Wow. I'm going to Las Vegas at the end of the week, so I'm going to have to go check that out. Okay, I mean, I do have a favorite dog park I go to every single day. Okay, well, if you've just joined us, we're talking with Jill Gonzalez from WalletHub about their annual pet evaluation of the top 100 cities. So, Jill, what city has the highest and the lowest veterinary cost? And then what city has the most vets?
In terms of vet care costs, the highest are in some of the biggest cities, Philadelphia, Nashville, New York, D.C. Some of the lowest are in places like Memphis, Oklahoma City, Corpus Christi, so cities or suburbs, bigger suburbs that are a little bit further out from the main drag certainly helps. And just in terms of access, Miami has the most veterinarians per capita, tied with Las Vegas, again, also Orlando, Tampa, and Cincinnati, actually. Places with the fewest veterinarians per capita, Boston, Massachusetts, we were actually surprised to see not many there, as well as Jersey City, Laredo, and Newark, New Jersey.
You know, that's funny, Dr. Fleck, because here in Bradenton, Florida, there's so many vets. I mean, there are 5 vets within a mile of your vet clinic, so I thought Bradenton might come up on the list.
I did, too.
You had a final question for Jill.
I did. So with that, today is Clear the Shelters Day, of course, and pet adoption is one of the biggest animal trends. So what about shelter choices? What city has the most and least animal shelters?
As far as the most animal shelters per capita, again, back to California, San Diego has the most, followed by Chicago, St. Louis, Atlanta, and Los Angeles. About almost 20 times more than the places with the fewest, which include Laredo, Jersey City, Newark, New Jersey, and Lexington, Kentucky.
You know, big shout out to our friend in San Diego, Mike Arms. He has one of the most revolutionary shelters in the country and also does that big shelter conference for people to come from all over the country free. So we love you, Mike. We're thinking of you.
Hey, Jill, thanks for coming today. We appreciate all the info.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Great info. Well, everyone, that was Jill Gonzalez, an analyst from WalletHub, talking about a recent pet analysis of the top 100 cities in America. So tweet or post us at ThePetBuzz. Send us a picture of your pooch and tell us why your city is pet-friendly. What's next on ThePetBuzz? Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about the Department of Transportation's response to Delta's ban on pit bulls as service animals on airplanes. You know what, Dr. Fleck, as a last moment, I'm actually glad we had Jill on, because one of the things that she brought up in the beginning, and I don't know if you caught that, is not only living in these cities, but traveling in these cities. So if you're planning a trip, it's a really good idea to check out this big, analysis. So if you're going to Boston or, San Diego or even Memphis, Tennessee, you'll know if there are a lot of vets in that area.
Yeah, and it's crazy, too, because Boston has Angel Memorial Hospital worldwide recognized in veterinary medicine.
Maybe that's what's prohibiting.
I don't know.
Maybe that's what's prohibiting vets opening practices there. Well, like I said,
Animal
stay
Medical
tuned.
Center in New York.
We'll be right back.
Sure, I'm a little rough and tough. Somebody's gotta be. I like the outdoors. Camping, boating, riding in your truck with my head out the window. Yeah, I'll poop outside. Doesn't everyone?
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt.
Hey, I'm Petrendologist Charlotte Reed, and research shows walking at least a half an hour every day can reduce a person's risk for heart disease and other serious illnesses. So regular walking is a great way to live a long and happy life. For most dogs, an hour of physical activity each day is necessary and will help them lead healthier lives free of disease. Walking a dog does not only have a physical benefit, there are plenty of psychological benefits for both the dog and the owner. There are so many smells, sights, and sounds in the outdoors that a dog is mentally stimulated every time he or she walks out the front door. Taking a dog on a walk will also help to solidify the strong bond between you and your animal. Give your dog some positive attention by doing what he or she loves. Take your dog out for a neighborhood walk today.
My name is Michelle Schaefer. I'm the mom of 3 boys, and I'm from Haddonfield and North Wildwood, New Jersey. I met Aladdin through my work with Lilo's Promise Animal Rescue, and I foster the emaciated dogs that come into our program. Aladdin came to us. He had been dumped at the side of the road. He weighed about 18 pounds. He had broken bones, other wounds, and he was missing 12 teeth. He was the worst abuse case I had ever seen. The most moving experience that I've had while working with Aladdin were when we were first responders at the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando, Florida, and Aladdin usually works off leash. He was on leash that night, and he led me over to a very specific person, and here that man had been in the nightclub the night of the shootings. He and Aladdin shared a very special moment that really made me cry. Aladdin has changed the way I see the world in a million different ways. The main thing is to treat people with kindness and compassion. My name is Michelle Schaefer, and Aladdin and I are individuals.
Warmer temperatures mean more time outside. You have sunscreen for yourself, but what about Fido? According to the American Animal Hospital Association and the American College of Veterinary Dermatology, pets need sunscreen too.
I love 2 things, sports and my dog Chester. Where I go, he goes. To the beach, to play soccer, everywhere. We spend a lot of time together in the sun, so I always carry a can of EpiPet sunscreen, so Chester is protected from the sun's harmful UV rays. I just spray it on and I don't have to worry. Chester is protected, so I know my sports buddy's going to be with me for a long time. Thanks, EpiPet.
Use EpiPet Sun Protector, the only FDA-approved pet sunscreen on short-haired, light-colored, hairless golden retrievers and other dogs susceptible to skin cancer. Contained in a sports bottle, EpiPet allows you to turn the bottle upside down, making it easier to spray your dog all over to protect your dog from the sun all day and every day. Visit epi-pet.com.
I'm Petrendologist Charlotte Reed, and here at the Pet Buzz, we are urban, suburban, and country. Now let's kick off this segment with global pet news.
And now, Pet Buzz news from around the globe.
You know, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, that's the FDA, and the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, recommended that people neither buy or use all pig ear pet treats in the United States. The announcement follows numerous cases of salmonella infection in humans following exposure to recalled pig ear dog chews imported from Brazil and Argentina. As of July 31st, people in 33 states have reported 120 cases of salmonella infections, which federal and state officials connect to salmonella-contaminated pig ear dog treats sold by Lennox International, Inc. 26 humans have been hospitalized. Okay, also the U.S. Department of Transportation announced on Thursday, that's last Thursday, that airlines must allow any breed of dog as a service or support animal on their flights, directly rejecting Delta Airlines' ban on pit bulls as service animals, a policy that went into effect in July of 2018. At the time, the ASPCA, or the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, had denounced Delta's ban on specific breeds arguing that it spread false stereotypes about pit bulls. Now, according to the ASPCA president, Matt Birkenshadker, after Delta's announcement, he said pit bull type dogs have long been popular family pets, noted for their affection and loyalty. He also said the airline should resist unwarranted breed prejudice and rescind its breed ban. So on July 31st, the DOT announced in a news release that it would not allow businesses to restrict specific breeds of service animals, ensuring that the dogs as a species are accepted for transport. And now, let's move on with the show. Up next, we're going to talk about doggy STDs. Well, joining us to talk about that interesting subject is veterinarian Dr. Robin Wilborn, an associate professor of, let me see if I can get this right, Theriogenology at the J.T. Vaughn Large Animal Teaching Hospital and co-director of Equine Reproduction Center at Auburn University College of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Wilborn, thank you so much for joining us at the Pet Buzz today. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So I guess the multi-million-dollar question is, can dogs get STDs, and how do they spread?
Yes, dogs actually can get sexually transmitted diseases, and of course they can spread by sexual contact, but it's also important with dogs to understand that these diseases that we talk about as STDs can also spread via non-sexual contact through saliva or urine, simple dog-to-dog contact, as would happen at the dog park, and that's a really important point.
What if, very similar to humans, what if a pooch passes through the birth canal of a mom that's infected? Is that possible too?
Yes, that is possible. Some of the diseases that we talk about are actually can be transmitted through the placenta.
Okay.
So even if a C-section were performed, that is possible. The transmission can occur that way as well. And then others, as you described, could be passed by transmission through the birth canal. So they're all a little bit different, but the most common way that dogs are exposed to the most common sexually transmitted diseases is actually through non-sexual contact, such as taking your dog to the pet store or the dog park or even the veterinary clinic where they might have contact.
Hold that thought, because I know that everybody is like blown away right now. They're like, wow, who would think? Okay, so can you describe like 2 or 3 of these major diseases, and how do you classify them? So like what are the big STDs for doggies?
Okay, so the major STDs that we talk about with dogs, the first one would be transmissible venereal tumor, or what we call TVT. But that is actually a tumor that can occur on the reproductive parts or on the nose or the mouth of dogs. Usually those are free-roaming dogs in tropical areas. For instance, if you vacation in the Caribbean or Central America, you might see dogs with that condition.
So don't feed those dogs if you see them.
Exactly.
Or interact with them.
So another common disease that we will talk about that I think is worth mentioning even for the average pet owner is canine brucellosis is very common in the U.S., and that is something that pet owners should be aware of, and that is one of the diseases, as I mentioned, that can be spread through non-sexual contact. And so it's very important for pet owners to be aware of that.
Okay, everybody, you know what I'm going to say next. This is an reason that you need to take your dog to the vet once or twice a year, right, Doc?
Yes, exactly. For most pet owners, meaning if your average pet is spayed or neutered and really doesn't have a lot of breeding potential, that dog still needs to be tested when it comes into your care, particularly if it comes to you through a rescue organization. That's very important because often dogs from rescue organizations have an unknown past. They were usually once free roaming on the street where they were more at risk for these diseases. So if your dog comes through a rescue organization, they certainly need to have a brucellosis test. It's a very simple test. Your veterinarian will just draw a blood sample, just like they would for a heartworm test, and then they usually mail that to a laboratory. It's not a very expensive test at all, and it's very, very important because canine brucellosis is what we term a zoonotic disease, meaning it's transmissible to people as well.
You know, I'm glad we're talking about this because today is Clear the Shelters Day, and it's a really great idea so that if you're going to go out there and you're going to rescue a dog, find the love of your life, your four-legged love of your life, you make sure that you take him to the vet, and this is one of those things you got to put on the checklist. Okay, now what about viral STDs?
Yes, so as far as viral diseases that affect the reproductive system of dogs, the most common one that we talk about is canine herpes virus. A canine herpes virus for the average pet owner is really not a big deal. It is really only important if you have dogs that you are breeding. So canine herpes virus is pretty present in the dog population and does not cause disease in non-reproductive scenarios. The only time that pet owners really need to worry about herpes causing disease in their dog is when they have a pregnant female that is about to give birth.
You know, there's a lot of information out there, and this way, that's why we love doing this show, because we learn so much here. My last question, we kind of talked about it, but I just kind of want you to bring it home, Dr. Wilborn. How can we protect our dogs?
Really the one to talk about here is canine brucellosis. How can you protect your dog from canine brucellosis? Because it is a very serious disease, and it's also easily transmitted to other dogs and transmitted to people as well. So the best way to guard against canine brucellosis is to have that dog tested when it becomes your dog. And if you already own a dog, just add that on to the health screening that you might do once a year with your veterinarian at that routine visit. But we often get the question, well, who's most at risk? Which people are most at risk? People most at risk, pregnant people or immunocompromised people, people with chronic illness. Well, if you have a therapy dog, those are usually the people you're going to visit, the very old people or the people with chronic illnesses. So it's just very important to screen your dog and just have that assurance that they're negative.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Well, we really appreciate you being here, and I'm really happy to let everyone know that Dr. Wilborn has a blog on our website, so just in case you forgot any of the points, you can go there, get your pen, get your paper, just make a little note, and recognize, especially with canine brucellosis, that it will affect those that do not have strong immune systems, like ones in the hospital, older people, maybe even kids, correct, Doctor?
That's exactly right.
Well, everyone, that was Dr. Robin Wilborn from Auburn University's College of Veterinary Medicine. To learn more about Dr. Wilborn, visit vetmed.auburn.edu.
Just in time, Shar. Did you hear the bell signifying it's time to wrap the show?
Actually, it was the cell phone.
Oh, okay.
But before we go, we want to give you a preview of next week's show. So next week, we're going to talk about National Dog Day and how to celebrate with your favorite pooch. For National Dog Day, I'm going to be in Washington, D.C. with one of my favorite dogs.
That'll be interesting.
So you'll get to see some pictures and everything else. But before we go, Dr. Fleck, can you please thank our guests?
Special thanks to our guests, Rory Diamond, Jill Gonzalez, and veterinarian Robin Wilborn.
That Robin Wilborn, she was great. We loved having her on the show. And we must always thank our sponsors, the Animal Medical Center of Bradenton and EpiPet, making better skin, coat, and ear care products for healthier pets everywhere.
Just so you know, you can follow along on our social media channels as the show airs. You'll see videos, our pictures, and notes of our thoughts that pertain to the show.
And if you have any questions, you can write us at team@thepetbuzz.com, and we'll cover your question or your comment on our next show. And if you've missed any portion of this show, visit our social media channels and listen to the linked podcast on Monday morning.
Most importantly, though, remember, we're here each week to help you take better care of your pet.
Peace out and pet love.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Pet Buzz. The Pet Buzz is hosted by the dynamic pet duo, Petrendologist Charlotte Reed and Dr. Michael Fleck. Tune in each week for the latest 411 on everything pet related. Visit our website at www.thepetbuzz.com. Learn more about us, the show, and our guests.
Sure, I'm a little rough and tough. Somebody's gotta be. I like the outdoors. Camping, boating, riding in your truck with my head out the window. Yeah, I'll poop outside. Doesn't everyone?
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt.
Does your pet have dry, flaky, and itchy skin? Do you find yourself visiting the veterinarian repeatedly because Fido or Fluffy has skin allergies or ear infections?
I love animals and want my pets to be healthy. So I asked our vet, who recommended EpiPet Ear Cleaner. It's super simple, and it even smells good. Every week I use it on both my dog and my cat to gently remove wax and debris. I even told my friend Aiden to try EpiPet on his dog Sophie, who always had red ears. But not anymore. Now we both have happy and healthy pets. Thanks, EpiPet.
Developed by a veterinarian, EpiPet is a revolutionary, high-performance skin and ear care product line made with the finest natural ingredients. For more information, visit epi-pet.com.